So, nice little story. PlayStation is really, drip drabbing us information. So finally, we have some backwards compatibility details from PlayStation themselves. So PlayStation has given us a lot of new information regarding backwards compatibility on the PS5. They've always reiterated that 99% of PS4 games will be playable on day one. We didn't really know what that meant on what it was, but luckily they finally decided to open up. So PS4 titles are obviously getting to be running better on PS5 through backwards compatibility, even the games that don't have necessarily a next-gen upgrade. So obviously, loading scenes and all that kind of stuff will be running better. Like you said earlier, I'm excited to try out. I have Control on PlayStation because I got it on sale. So I'm excited to hopefully play that on my PS5 just to run better. If I can pause and unpause and then not get motion sickness, I'll be fine with that.
Yeah,
that's
that
my
weird
big thing.
jitter thing it does.
Yeah, super, super weird. Obviously improving more stable frame rates and things like that. Unlocking frame rates, dynamic resolution up to 4K. And additionally, PS4 games will also take advantage of some of PS5's new UX features. VR games are compatible. They did release a list, which is way, way smaller than I thought, of the, 1% of the games that don't work. And so you have Afro Samurai 2, Revenge of Kuma, Volume 1, which is a delisted Afro Samurai game. You can't even buy that game anymore. The other volumes were canceled. I forgot this game even existed. I thought this was a PS3 game. You have Just Deal With It, which I think is a card game you play with your phone. Shadow Complex Remastered, which is there's only two games on that surprised me on here. Robinson the Journey, which is a PSVR game. We Sing, Joe's Diner, Hitman Go Definitive Edition, and DWVR. I forgot how you're supposed to pronounce it, but super, super small list of games that most I never heard of, and I don't think anyone's crying over.
No.
I mean, Hitman Go is an iPhone game, if you guys really want to play that. But, so what do you think of this? We're finally getting some backwards compatibility information. I'm surprised they kept the secret so long, because this is some of the stuff that Xbox has been really pushing, where they're like, hey, you're going to play backwards compatibility, but your games are going to also play better naturally.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, obviously. And are you torn up about any of these games not being compatible?
I really did have a strong penchant to play Joe's Diner on my PS5. I wanted to see it with that 120, frames per second. But obviously, no one's playing these games. So I did wonder though, for the few, the small developers who are responsible for these games, who have developed these games, I'm really curious to know what the small development related issues are where they can't get it running on the next gen console. I'm just a curiosity on my part. What is wrong with these games that they don't run when they were able to get thousands of other games running? That's interesting. None of these games, I'm obviously thirsting to go play. The backwards compatibility kind of suite and offerings that the PlayStation 5 is offering is pretty much the form that I was hoping it was going to take, which is basically just handle it how Xbox did. So be able to play last gen games with small boosts here and there, and depending on the level of optimization, at the low end you get a little bit of a resolution boost. On the higher end you get performance boosts, and it seems like they're going to be handling this very, very well. I saw some people getting on them. It's like, wow, Sony still can't do, proper backwards compatibility. And I'm like, a list of 10 games is not, saying a bad approach to backwards compatibility. And I guess it's because comparing to Xbox, PlayStation released a list of games that won't work on their next console. Where on the other hand, Xbox releases a list of every game that does work. Yeah. But if you compare them, there's actually probably going to be way more games that play on the PS5 than backwards compatible necessarily with Xbox. They just have a different approach to the marketing of it. When you went onto the Xbox One thing, they didn't release a list of all the 360 games that didn't work. No, they released a list of a smaller list of the 360 games that do work. So it's kind of just changing the way that I guess you look at it. But no, this is really, really good. As long as you get all the major first-party and third-party stuff working, I'm happy. That's all I want, is just make sure all your stuff works and all the major stuff that I'd want to go back to works. So obviously you want the Assassin's Creeds, you want all these annualized franchise games working. But I mean, a couple indie games here and there and small things that specifically has been some time before they come out, I'm not mad at. If these were one of the more, new games that came out this year or something like that, okay, that might be an issue.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah, or if it was a first party thing, that would be an issue. But I mean, a Shadow Complex remaster, I like Shadow Complex, but I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'll get over it. Yeah, so I like that. I do like their approach, and that's one thing people kept ignoring. They're like, well, Xbox, not every 360 game is compatible with an Xbox One. Here, practically every PS4 game I have, I don't think I own any of these, obviously. Every PS4 game I have will play on my PS5. Even better, which is exciting because, I still like to jump into Tony Hawk, and I'm glad that I didn't mess up and not get it on Xbox or whatever. And we were so worried about what that 1% is. Now that we know what that 1% is, it's really not even a story. I'm in the same boat where I'm like, what about these games make it that they don't work? Where I just don't know I wonder what the criteria was where they're like, yeah, this just doesn't work. But that whole thing where Xbox is marketing, thousands of games available at launch, including your Xbox One games, Sony has that now too. It's like 4,000 PS4 games. They're like, they work day one, tentatively, on PS5. So we're starting to, the scales are starting to balance here now, because people, I guess, were assuming, is it going to be just first party stuff and not downloadable titles? So it's exciting to know that games I'm not done with playing, I will be able to hopefully just get into it on my PS5 and keep playing them. And also it makes it easy that once these systems come, because of how huge they are, I can pack up my PS4 and my Xbox One, or put them on a shelf, make them look nice, and I don't need them there to play one or two games that I'm still playing. So overall, really good news. Finally getting some good news from Sony. They're taking their time, but at least it's positive stuff.
Yeah, at this point, it's mostly just kind of the UI that we're waiting for, I think, at this point.
Yeah, because even those, I think we talked about last week, the people who, the Japanese influencers that have it, I guess their PS5s override the UI, so like the games play automatic, which is like a really weird thing. But
the things they choose to be secretive about, I'll never quite understand.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're holding out for like one last, I always call them directs, but one last like video shoot, like launch shoot to show everything. So hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, hopefully October. I mean, you guys are really playing it close to the chest if you're gonna show the UI off for the first time the same month that you're launching the console.
Yeah, I'm assuming, and I guess they're trying to keep bad. If it's not that they just some reason don't want to show it yet, or they're trying to do one big push, I'm thinking it may just be very, very similar to the PS4 UI and
not much to show off.
Yeah, not much to show off, or because even Xbox's was very similar to their current one, but they're like
cleaned up, streamlined.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, that would be okay. Just get it out of the way now.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking at the date right now. Yeah, it's October 11th today. We're a month out. Almost exactly.
Oh my goodness, almost exactly. We're 4 weeks out.
Yeah, because the 10th and the 12th. So.
Yeah, we don't have the UI, and we saw the system get deconstructed, but no UI. I'm like, I would have preferred to see the UI instead of them unscrewing all the circuit boards and stuff. But
look at that heat sink though. What a large boy.
It's so big.